All right. I would like now to introduce the speaker in our lecture today is Stanley Edward Maszczak. He is a multi-passionate speaker, facilitator, and transpersonal coach. He helps individuals and groups articulate their unique gifts as a core gift and signature gift discovery facilitator. He's also a quantum human design specialist, intuitive, and has worked with the Akashic Records and Tarot. His work has been greatly impacted by his own growth journey, navigating fundamentalist religion from a young age and into adulthood, coming out as gay and gender nonconforming, serving in the Army Reserve for almost 22 years, both under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy and after its repeal, and retiring as a Master Sergeant in 2022. Stanley joined the chapel in 2019 and has served on the board and is currently serving as the chapel's newsletter editor, website, and social media manager. Please welcome him to the podium, Stanley. Let's adjust the camera.
Thank you. I took my shoes off, Trish.
Well, if you lean forward with Bill and
I do lean forward like Bill. Ever watch those videos with Bill? He's like, let's do this. And then I started doing it. I don't know. Anything I do like Bill does, I think is a compliment. It's a good thing. I'll step back a bit. All right, I'll try not to lean. So apologies to the folks on Zoom. I just realized about 20 seconds into Trish reading my bio that I was still playing music on Zoom. So I turned that off. So that video will be funny.
You gotta backtrack.
Yeah, interesting setup today. So, and yeah, thanks for doing that with us. It's always fun to do new things, right? Try new things, learn new songs. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, we did that earlier. Thank you. Hopefully we're still, yep, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so lots of good songs. The last one we do later will be a normal song, not a normal song, a previous song. So it'll be a little more familiar. And I'll fix those words on the slide too. But anyway, I wanted to come and talk a little bit today about the initial title for this was There's Always More. So today we come together on Father's Day to celebrate our fathers, to celebrate our father figures, to celebrate a lot of different things having to do with fatherhood. We're also in the middle of LGBTQ Pride Month, celebrating just the ability of people of different sexes, genders, sexual orientations to be who they are and be affirmed by people in the public square and not have to hide and stay in closets anymore. And continuing that work as we create more of those spaces around the world. We have Juneteenth coming up this week, celebrating the emancipation of enslaved people in Texas long after the Declaration of Independence was issued. We have so much to understand and honor and celebrate this week and this month and today. And even in those places of celebration where we are, a lot of us, most of us, I think, are also very keenly aware that there's lots to mourn as well today, lots to acknowledge and be aware of, to share our healing love and energy with today, whether that be in all the violent conflicts taking place around the world, or in our less than loving energy that manifests in different ways around our country, our state, or our local community. Sometimes even in our own homes or in our relationships when we have difficulties there that are less than love. Sometimes those places are within our own selves, within our own minds, bodies, spirits, things that are in conflict with the truth of who we know we are as divine energy manifested, as love, as light, as beings who are here to be incredibly unique and beautiful expressions of Source. All of these things exist at once. They all exist at one time, in one moment, in one now moment. If we took a snapshot of all the energy and all its manifestations all the way around the world, just our globe, a snapshot in one moment, we would see all of this at the same time. We would see a loving family celebrating Father's Day with every loving member of that family unit present and abiding in love and a joyous celebration and honoring of the fathers and father figures in their lives. And in that same snapshot of a moment, we would see a family torn apart by suffering, loss, mourning, and seemingly insurmountable grief. We would see a person beautifully giving of themselves in an aligned and loving way, serving their communities joyfully, giving and receiving that powerful energy that we have when we are abiding in aligned service. And we'd also see someone committing an act of violence against another human being who bears the same image of the divine that they do. All of these things are present in the same moment. All of these things and our responses to them are valid. And all our energies that come around this are not equal. Our energies around these things, they rise and they fall, they ebb and they flow. There are some energies that are more supportive and building up of each other and ourselves and other people than others. But it's in this way of kind of living in this paradox that we learn what we want our lives to be about and what we want our lives to be focused on. A good friend of mine, my former rector when I lived in New York and was in an Episcopal church, Curlin Richter, she shared this Father's Day prayer last year, and I want to read it and share it with you as a prayer today too. I always loved the prayers that she wrote, but they kind of speak to this paradox and this ability that we all have as human beings to honor what is and amplify what we want to see more of. So these are Curlin's words I'm going to share as a prayer. She said, "I'm praying today for all the papas today, for all the daddies, all the puppies. I'm praying for every child of a father. I'm praying for anyone who wanted to be a papa and isn't yet and may never be. I'm praying for y'all who have kids and it doesn't look anything like you thought it would. I'm praying today for everyone whose relationship with their own dad is complicated and painful. I am praying for prayers of delight for all you whose dads have shown you unconditional love and for all you papas who just love your kiddos. I am praying thank you for all the uncles, for the coaches, the volunteers, the teachers, and the family friends. Your love and your presence matter so much. I'm praying today for all the papas who wanted to be better than their fathers, for those of you who succeeded and for those of you who didn't. I am praying for the sperm donors and giving thanks for their generosity and holding their complexity. I am praying for every father incarcerated by the demons of fear, hatred, and profit separating you from your children. I'm praying today for those whose papas have gone on to the other side and left you here. I'm praying today for the dude partners of bio dads, for the trans papas, the birth papas, the step papas, and the papa mamas. There are a million ways to be a family. I'm praying today for every father who knows that a phone call or a card isn't coming. I'm praying today so hard for all of us. So, as I mentioned before, we can acknowledge what is. We can acknowledge all of these seemingly paradoxical things happening simultaneously and still choose to, in this moment, be love. Whatever that love manifested looks like in this moment where I am with the people I'm with in this present moment. I can still choose to acknowledge and honor what is. I can acknowledge and honor where we are individually. I can better understand what is mine to do and focus on and be, and what's not mine to do and focus on and be. I can still acknowledge what is, and I can still choose. How we respond and grow when faced with new information or new understanding that illustrates the gaps we may have been operating on before, I can still choose how I respond and be love in that moment. I can still choose how I respond and acknowledge the never-ending stream of information and energy and knowledge we all have access to, and commit to being love and honoring all that is, even while we learn and grow, even while we do that in ways that allow us to fully show up now and here in this moment. Because that stream of knowledge and information is never ending, but how I show up in response to it, inside of it, outside of it, is what matters right now. So how do we do this? As diverse as we are as human beings, as individuals, whether that diversity is in our mental capacity, our emotional, our physical, our energetic, or all of those things society has heaped onto us and judged us by, whatever that diversity is, we all still need our own touch point with our souls and our being and all that is. We need that connection and that intentional presence, consciously and unconsciously. Whether we do that by meditation or intentional hiking in nature or a walking meditation or doing art as meditation or music, singing, dancing, clapping, silent meditation, guided meditation, journaling as meditation or a connective practice. There are so many different options, and there's no one right way to do that. But if we don't allow ourselves the grace and the space to engage somehow, to intentionally tap in and connect and share our love and our being and our joy with all that is, just as we would share with our family, friends, and others we care about, we can run the risk of being tossed around by everything else that's vying for our attention around us, whether that be people or causes or issues or problems or any of those things in our world that sometimes forget that they too have the same ability to tap in and connect with their innate divinity, with their innate sourceness, with their consciousness, with each of our unique connections with wisdom. We can't choose or do any of this for others, but we can do it for ourselves. And if I think if we're going to continue to create the world of love that we want to live in, that we want to live in even more regularly, even more daily, even more consistently, we have to continue to share that intentionality with our daily lives and schedules. Why am I talking about this today? Because it's the thing I've been struggling most myself with lately. Sermons are often for myself. Because I recognize that in those periods of time when I am connected and doing this intentionally, life is so much better. And when I'm not, and I'm choosing from all those things around me, sometimes life is quite a bit trickier. So what are the spaces that are supportive for me? What are the spaces that are supportive for you? Whether it's in one moment, just taking 30 seconds to breathe into our hearts, to breathe into our minds, to share a prayer of gratitude for the life we've been entrusted with. Whether it's taking that yoga class or allowing yourself the space for that 15-minute guided meditation you've been meaning to get to, or giving yourself the gift of 10 minutes to just journal, to just write things down with your hands, to allow the words to flow out of you with no plan and no judgment of what comes out, just to write, to give your body that outlet, to allow yourself that gift of centering and aligning and processing your daily life, reflecting on it, asking your connection with source and your higher wisdom, what is yours for you to do and be and have and create today? And what is not? What can you let go of today? Because when we ask those questions, the way will show up. But if we're not creating the space to even be aware of the what good would it do for the how to show up? If we're not creating the space to even be aware of what the what is, of what source is trying to teach us or show us or guide us toward, if we're not creating that space, what good would it do for the how or the way to show up? Even if it did, we may not see it because we may not know what we're looking for or have a solid understanding of how our bodies respond when the what does show up, because that too is also unique for us. We don't all understand that we're aligned in the same way. Some feel, some see, some hear, some taste, some touch, some know, some just feel it in their left ring toe. We're all different. But we have to give ourselves the gift of creating that space to discover these parts of ourselves, the ways that we've been uniquely gifted by Source, to tap in, to tune in, and to know what our inner guidance is leading us toward. As we create our new lives and world, as we're creating this aligned, expansive community of our new day today and our new day tomorrow and our future beyond, I invite us all to allow that space to create our lives in each moment from the origination point of source within, of our higher wisdom, and our own unique connection with all that is.